Hello, beautiful people. Here I am with another live dream chat. Tonight I'm going to be talking about inducing lucid dreams. We've already talked a bit about this in the live that I did a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because I wasn't here last week. So we already talked about lucid dreams, and I shared a little bit of my experiences and 3 tips to induce lucid dreaming and how it can be beneficial to our waking life, in the sense of just creating more, I guess you could say, confidence within ourselves. Also being able to uncover solutions for ourselves through the act of lucid dreaming, right? And so this is really allowing us to be conscious in the dream space, which I have somewhat of mixed feelings about. I think that if there is a strong intention and a strong intention, more so in the sense of, why am I doing this? Is this of benefit? I think that lucid dreaming is really helpful in that way. And my other feeling of just having the mixed feelings about it is because, in the dream space, this is a space where we can receive, right? We can let go of control and just see what our unconscious self or the divine has to share with us in our dream space. So yes, you can use it intentionally in receiving, or you can also just use it as a space to really get to the bottom of things and really to heal or just bring forth maybe a message or some guidance or closure to something that has been, coming up in your waking life. So welcome everyone in. Yes, I love lucid dreaming, says Lunar Mischief. Awesome. Yeah, so I am going to jump into this, but first I want to share that I am still offering my dream guide. It is a 25-page guide, ebook, PDF for instant download. And essentially I created this guide, or it's also called my dream notes. I don't know if I mentioned that, but anyways, this is basically the notes that I created once I was doing the dream circle back during eclipse season. So yes, Urania's dream notes, 25-page dream guide consisting of topics on bedtime ritual, dream recall, dreams and astrology, how to create your own dream journal, how to, integrate the messages, the guidance that comes through the dreams and such. So if you enjoy what I share here, if you want to learn more and really create a sacred practice for yourself, in reference to your dream space, I would definitely encourage you to check it out. The link is in my bio, and you can access that and get a little bit more information in all the topics that I cover in this guide, because again, it's 25 pages and it is basically my organized notes and key points for what I learned and practiced during this dream circle that I facilitated. So shout out to Mary if you're still here. I miss you. This life's for you. Okay, so I wanted to talk more about lucid dreams, and I wanted to share what has come up for me. And I definitely encourage you to comment on what comes forth for you, what you would like to share. Leave them in the comments below. If you have questions, leave them there too. I want to revisit what I shared a little bit in the first part of this live, which was like 2 weeks ago. And the recording is up, so you can definitely check it out if you desire, if you haven't seen that one yet. But the main points I want to make or carry into this conversation was the 3 tips that I presented for inducing lucid dreams. So being able to really to intentionally have a lucid dream, to have that experience. And one of the ways was in your waking life. This is called, reality checkpoints. So in your waking life throughout your day, when it comes to mind, take a moment and ask yourself, is this reality or is this a dream, right? Or is this waking life or is this a dream? Whatever the terminology is for you. am I in my state of consciousness or am I in the dream space, right? And so doing that consistently will then trickle into your dream space, so that at times you will catch yourself, or when you're actually in the dream and you ask yourself this question, am I in my waking life? Is this reality or is this a dream? And then you're like, oh shit, it's a dream, right? This is, that's when you'll have that aha moment, and then you'll be able to then say, control whatever it is that you desire. So the second, tip for inducing lucid dreams is to establish a dream symbol for yourself, in the sense of, this particular symbol will give me the recognition that I'm in a dream and I'm not in reality, right? So a really popular one is a clock, or asking for the time. So if you see a clock, or if you feel in the dream, because this is one of my own, because I don't know if a clock specifically is, I'm not going to say if it's a good or bad dream symbol, but I know that, time breaks down in dreams, right? Or in other realities, right? And so I don't know, a clock to me would seem distorted from what I'm visualizing in my mind. But anyways, when I felt in the past that I was dreaming, or when I came into that conscious awareness in my dreams that I'm like, hey, am I dreaming? I think I'm dreaming. I would then ask for the time. And when I asked for the time, there was no response. It was like time literally stood still, and I would audibly hear crickets in my dream. And that's when I knew, I'm like, awesome, I'm in a lucid dream, or I'm dreaming, and now I'm going to summon someone, or I'm going to go to the beach, or whatever superficial thing I was doing at those times. And so that's one of the ways that you can establish some sort of significator that, or indicator that I am in a dream. Another symbol could just be, say a crescent moon or something. I can't really think of anything to come to mind, but it can be very personal to you. And when you establish that symbol, then, I would encourage you to draw it. And as you draw it, or in your journal that you draw the symbol in, also set that intention, assign that dream symbol in writing, that when I see this in dreams, this is an indicator that I'm in a dream. And so you will see that at some point in your dream space, and then you'll know, like, oh, I'm in a dream. Okay, let's go. And one of the other things too is that I've read, it's good to, have that dream symbol, say, as the background on your phone, or somewhere you will see it every day, and that will give you an indicator of, yes, I'm in a dream. So then the third tip for inducing a lucid dream, and of course, like, I can't remember right now, so I hope it's in this journal, and I don't think it's in this journal. It's in my dream journal. That is, where is that journal? Oh, I'm looking right at it. Okay, so I'm going to get it so I can get this third one. All right. Let's see, my friends. All right, so, yes, this is an important one. This is one that I've done before unintentionally. So this is considered to be the wake up back to bed technique. Essentially, you set an alarm to go off at about 6 hours after you fall asleep. And once your alarm goes off, it says, I noted, to stay awake for about 30 minutes. And then after the 30 minutes, go back to bed with the intention to lucid dream. So in this, like, go to bed, or what did I say? Wake up back to bed method. Essentially, when you wake up for that 30 minutes, you want to stay in bed because you want to kind of be in this space where you can easily drift off. And I know, sometimes that can be kind of tricky, because depending on the time of day, like if it's like morning outside and if I wake up, then it's kind of hard for me to go back to sleep because the sun is out, and so I'm pretty much awake or laying in bed. But I think the idea of 6 hours specifically is because this is the point where your body could still use more rest, but it's kind of awake, right? And so it might be easy to slip it back into that dream space. And, I would encourage you to adjust this for, whatever your sleep cycle is. Like for me, 6 hours is probably as much sleep as I need. So I might try this for maybe like 4 hours. And I know the window between, I think it's like 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is a good time to wake yourself up and then go back to bed. And usually that will be a time where you can really induce lucid dreams in that way. So Lunar Mischief says, I think my biggest difficulty is the desire to change it. I get so interested in following where it goes naturally and just observe things. I need to practice having the desire to create with intent. That's such a good point, and good for you, Lunar Mischief, because I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it, but I have kind of mixed feelings about lucid dreams, because one of my friends who's an avid dream practitioner, she mentioned how this is a space where it's like, I can finally receive. I don't have to control everything happening in my life, in this phase of reality, and I could just receive whatever guidance or experience comes forth to me in the dreams. And then, from a different perspective, and what I read on recently that really made me curious of lucid dreams again, is the fact that having a lucid dream, if you have it or, navigate the dream with a specific intention, then you can really benefit, like your reality, your waking life will greatly be benefit from your experience. And I'm going to share here what is coming up for me right now, which is a perfect example of how inducing a lucid dream can be of benefit for your waking life. And so I just want to reflect back, and Lunar Mischief says exactly. So I want to reflect back to those 3 points just to bring that, to anchor that in as far as inducing a lucid dream. And so the 3 tips, I guess you could say, or techniques. The first one is the asking yourself, am I in reality or am I in a dream, right? So this is the reality check. Then the second technique is establishing a dream symbol, right? So what symbol will give me the indication that if I see this, I'm dreaming, right? And you want to journal that, and you want to have it around it so you can see it every day. And this is like if you're really working to induce a lucid dream, which now I'm in this experience, right? And so then the third technique, which I just shared, is the wake up back to bed technique, where you want to set an alarm 6 hours after you fall asleep, and then stay up for 30 minutes and then go back to sleep with the intention to experience a lucid dream, to have that consciousness within your dreams. So the reason why you might want to do this is because it will, if you play your cards right, it will be of benefit to your waking life, right? And so you want to have a strong intention. And so when I connected a couple weeks ago on this topic, I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. I want to try this out. And I wasn't really sure I didn't have a strong intention. I just wanted to try it. And I know from my previous lucid experiences where I really acted on it, I really acted on them in superficial ways. It was like really meaningless. And so I really like that you pointed that out, Lunar Mischief, that it's really fun to just have the experience and see where the dream takes you. And so I really resonate with that. And moving forward through time since I last connected with you all here about this topic, I have been having a series of dreams with the recurring symbol of a house. And I cannot remember if I feel I have had this dream or this house has popped up in my dreams before. I would say a few other times within the past like 3 or 4 months, but it didn't really stick until recently or stand out to me until recently. And so this dream, this dream or this dream symbol essentially is a house. And I saw Raven hopped on here. So shout out to Raven, because when I first started doing these lives, the dream chats, Raven came on and shared her experience with the house symbolism and how the house, there are certain areas usually, oh, hi, she is here. There are certain areas in the house, and this is what I've read too and just doing research. There are certain areas within a house in a dream that you may not want to go in. Like there's something about this area of the house, whether it's an attic or a bedroom or a basement. And so we're actually talking about a home, right? Well, I said house. So yes, home, because buildings and hotels and other places are a thing too you want to pay attention to. But the actual home, say that, you live in, whether it's in real life or just shows up in the dream, or it's a place that that someone else lives in, but you just happen to be there, right? And so for me, this place, or before I get into it, just going back to what I just said as far as the houses in the different rooms, the house in itself, according to Carl Jung, is a representation of your entire psyche, right? Like your whole, psychological makeup or mind, I guess you could say. And the rooms are the different parts of yourself that make up your whole not psychic mind, but your whole psyche. Does this make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. So it's just like how you perceive, the psyche's way of perceiving the parts of yourself, right? Or different experiences, emotional connections to certain things, right, that are contained within your psyche, right? So more so now I'm looking at the unconscious. So if you have a dream, and more so a recurring dream, or how the same house is coming up in your dream over and over, there is something in reference to this house that maybe you're being called to revisit or uncover and such, right? And so if there's a place in the house that seems haunted or seems off limits, there's something about you, right, that your psyche is perceiving as being unconscious, or being, not unconscious, but like it's hidden, right? Or something that's scary. So just getting into the example that I'm going to share, and that's what's coming up for me, is that I've been having this recurring dream where either it's my grandmother's house, and this particular house is that the last house that my grandmother lived in before she passed away. And right at the end of, as she was transitioning, we ended up, she had to go to hospice. But before that point, my mother and I moved in with her and basically took care of her until we couldn't anymore, right? And this will be 20 years, this coming March, right? So it was a long time ago. And living in this house. So at this time I was like 18 years old, and I was not connected to spirituality. I didn't really think about dreams in that way. My only connection to any of that stuff, like you could say supernatural, was through like horror movies and, my practicing witchcraft, which was like what you would see in the movie The Craft, right? It was all like fun and spooky, and there wasn't really any like depth to it. And I would say this was my first known time that I actually had strong spiritual experiences that I am aware of. And I remember there was one thing about specifically the one memory I have, because I'm really good at blocking out scary, traumatic things in my life. And as I've been doing the dream work, I have been uncovering memories, like they've been coming back to me, certain memories, things that I've blocked out from the past. And so I do believe this is why this recurring symbol is coming up, because it's time to address this, right? And so one of the one memory that has always been able to come through is that I remember there was a time where my mother and I shared a bedroom when we were there, and I remember sleeping at night, and I like kind of woke up. It's hard to remember if I woke up or if it was like in the dream, but it was like in this in-between space. And I was present to like what you would consider maybe to be demons. I don't know. It was like shadowy, dark figures all around the space. Like maybe it was like the presence of death and like heavy energy. But I remember that feeling. And I want to say it was very soon before or shortly before we had to move her to hospice. And I remember there would be moments of hearing my grandmother moan in the middle of the night for like help and things of that nature. And so there's just really heavy, intense memories there, right? And at the once my grandmother passed away, which was not in the house, I could not stay in that house anymore. It was like her spirit was there. I was very sensitive, which makes sense now because I'm very sensitive to spirits and energy in the home. And so I had to leave immediately. So it was basically, it was the fight or flight kind of energy, and I had to get the fuck out. Like I was like, Mom, my mother stayed there, but I moved in with my godmother in another town because it was like, I can't be in that house anymore. It's like her things were everywhere. That was the beginning of blocking out what happened, right? The fact that my grandmother no longer exists, or, in the physical form, she's transitioned, and it was just a really hard time. And I feel that I'm getting really choked up thinking about it, because I've been through this whole year has been a really deep journey of connecting and also accepting the transition of my grandmother. And like I said, it's been 20 years almost. And I haven't been, up until earlier this year, I couldn't even like have a picture of my grandmother. I mean, it was that I couldn't acknowledge it, right? I couldn't make the connection. And she's a very strong spirit guide in my life since then, right? She was essentially like my mother. I lived with her and she raised me until I was about 7 years old, right? And anyways, so there's that. And what's made this really interesting is that up until maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, when my grandmother came into my dreams, it was excitement. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, we get to connect. Because again, I healed a lot of that. And it wasn't until, I would say, right before eclipse season, or it could have been during eclipse season, my grandmother came in my dream, and it was like this like anxiety like it used to be, and fear, and I didn't want to talk to her or communicate with her. So coming back to the dream, the house coming back up in my dreams, she is always around when I'm at that house. And it's either she's like, I feel her energy and I don't want to go in, or I know she's upstairs and I don't want to, I'm always trying to get away from her, right? Or get away from the house, and I don't want to go. And so the second house has been my mother's current house where she is. And it's interesting because the setup of my grandmother's house and my mother's house is pretty much like the same. And so the same feeling, the feeling of doom, the feeling of fear, I don't want to like go upstairs. And so it was brought to my attention by a friend that I have unfinished business in this house. And so I have been having recurring dreams, right, with that house being there in the same situation. And so in waking life, like in my dream, you know how in dreams when you are not conscious, you end up doing the same things you do like in your real life, like if it was a dream, you're like, oh, if I knew this was a dream, I would do X, Y, Z. But in your waking life, for me, in the dream, it's like my unconscious doesn't want to go there. So it's like, oh, hell no, I'm not going up there. Like it's haunted or something's going on. However, in my, like where I am now, I feel strong enough after doing the dream work that I have been doing, say for the past, 6 months. And also all the spiritual work that I've been doing and connecting with my guides and doing my spiritual practice. I'm like, I need to fucking go in that room. And a friend shared with me, it's like, hey, like you might want to, or no, this actually just came to me, but I told myself, I was like, this is a perfect intention to set for a lucid dream. Like, let me go into that house and let me go into that room. And as I'm saying it, I am getting a little like excited, and also I feel resistance and hesitation, but there's a part of me that knows, maybe my grandmother has a message for me. And also my friend pointed out to me that they felt my grandmother's energy when I was with my mom recently, and it felt like my grandmother was tethered. Like there's something she has to do before she can really like move along. Not saying she's in purgatory, but there's something here that is tethering her to wherever existence she's in right now. And I'm literally, you guys, the only one that can connect with my grandmother on the other side. Or I shouldn't say can, but am open to it. My mother is totally just very secular and not open to any of this. And in the sense of she just has no feelings towards it. It's not a like, oh my gosh, that's bad, but it's just like, whatever. My brother totally checked out, not really into it. And my mom's brothers, and as far as I know, their kids are not, available. And so I'm literally, and I would argue say I'm the closest grandchild, I was my grandmother's first grandchild. Again, I was like her daughter, and this was a second chance at being a quote unquote good mother because of the experience with my mother that, I know there's a lot of guilt and shame for what was going on there. So I was her redemption essentially. And I do, when they told me that, I felt a strong yes to, I need to connect with her. And I felt like it's like we're helping each other. And so where I am on my journey right now is, and I haven't induced it yet, but I am going to make the intention to go up there. And so I will, definitely report back with you all about, what happens, because I think I'm really close. So I don't know if Lewis is on. Well, firstly, let's see, the star Raven, which is Raven my friend that I was talking about. Wow, you just made me remember some things about my house dream. Amazing. Yes, you'll have to share with me if you want to. I would love to hear. Maybe it will help me in my journey in moving forward with this. I mean, yes, I am a little bit resistant, but I definitely want to check it out. But this is a perfect example of the healing that can come forth from inducing a lucid dream, because one of the things that can happen, if I am successful at inducing this specific dream and the ability to go there, or at least, connect with my grandmother, because I have a feeling this haunted, like this darkness I feel from upstairs is in connection to that experience with my grandmother. And there's something I feel like intuitively by going up there, I'm going to open up something else, maybe unlock memories. And I'm just really, it's going to be a lot. And I'll share with you guys that Pluto is moving into Aquarius literally on my birthday. So January 20th is my birthday. Pluto will move back into Aquarius on the day of my birthday on my sun in Aquarius. So I'm just and Aquarius is going to be activated for my next year, right? So on my birthday, Aquarius part of my chart is active and Pluto is there. So I'm like, shit's about to go down. Oh my gosh. So yes, that is what I am planning to do. And again, by me going up there, right, by me inducing this lucid dream is an opportunity to receive some sort of information and also change an outcome, right? And by receiving this, by opening this up, yes, it can be scary. Yes, it might be heavy, but I feel that it's going to be very transformative and healing, not only for myself, but maybe for my grandmother's spirit, I feel. So it's really, really deep and intense. And I've been doing a lot of spiritual work and meditation that honestly I feel will prepare me for whatever is coming forth in that experience. And so, yes, this is how it can be really healing. So this is pretty much what I had to share with you guys. If Lewis is still on here, I just want to share, because Lewis mentioned that there's an Osho practice or saying that if you smell a rose before you go to bed, then you will more than likely, you can induce a lucid dream state by receiving that smell in your dream. So there's something about the smell of rose that carries into the dream space, and that can be a recognition that, oh my gosh, I'm in a dream. And so he mentioned this to me again last night as I was kind of updating him on what was going on with my lucid dream experience. And I was like, well, I wonder if I smell rose essential oil, if that would work. And so I don't have any roses right now because I forgot when he mentioned it 2 weeks ago when I did have roses. But anyways, I'm going to try out the rose essential oil to see if that might work too. And of course, you can use mugwort. Mugwort is like the best for lucid dreams. Like, I do not sleep well when I drink mugwort before bed. It's a straight up like restless sleep, but it's perfect if you want to induce a lucid state. And I would partake in mugwort, but I am breastfeeding, so I don't know how I feel about doing that. Raven's gonna drink some tonight. You gotta let me know if that works for you. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have, guys. So I don't know if you have any comments or questions about lucid dreams, about the house symbol in the dream space. If you have dream symbols, I would love to hear about them. As I mentioned so many times, I'm not even going to go into detail because I've been talking about it a lot. My other recurring dream symbol was a car, or is a car. I still see cars frequently, so that's been something that's been coming up for me. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, so I mean, at this point for myself, I'm going to try the go to bed or wake up back to bed method. I don't know why I can't ever remember that. Ooh, Ravens is driving along water. Yeah, water is always a recurring symbol. And from my understanding and experience, it has a lot to do with like releasing emotions. And it's been a good minute since I've cried, so I feel like that's about due. But yeah, no, I recently had a dream with horses, and I should look up the symbolism, but it was horses, and I wasn't riding the horses, but it was like I was witnessing horses running through water, but in the street. And then there were black bears that were also nearby, but they were just chill. They weren't trying to come after anyone, which black bears are pretty chill anyways, except, of course, if their cub is nearby. But so there was an interesting dynamic between the horses, the water, and the bears. But yeah, so my dreams have been all over the place, and but I'm really excited to get clear with this recurring house symbol. So does anyone, last call for questions or comments, shares on your dream symbols or lucid dream? Have you guys had any experience with that? Like I said, I'm going to try and induce this lucid dream, and hopefully I can report back to you guys next week on what happens. I'm a little nervous. I will say I'm in the part of my dream cycle where I do have a lot of like anxious dreams and nightmares, and this has actually been a very like chill dream cycle. I would say the most intense dream has been this house symbol dream, and it's been a couple days since I've had it. So I'm sure I'll have it tonight after all this talk about it. All right, friends, so that's what I wanted to share on this. I can't really think of anything else. I haven't dreamt of the house since I navigated all the rooms. Yes. So Raven, I want to ask, did you just happen to do it unconsciously in your dream, like navigating all the rooms, or was it a lucid experience? And also, was that healing for you, navigating those rooms? And I see Kettle Buddha, Lewis. Yes. Oh, okay. So I was just saying, I don't think you were in here. I didn't try the oil. I was literally laying in bed, and I forgot. Sorry, my child is having a meltdown. Okay, so I literally was thinking, I was in bed and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get the rose oil. And I'm laying in bed and talking myself, through getting up, and then I fell asleep. Then I woke up, and I wake up often in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 times, unless it's like something just knocks me out. And so I woke up and I thought about it again. I'm like, okay, I got to get up, and because my oils are in the kitchen. And so long story short, I didn't use the oil, but in the dream, literally rose came up, like the rose oil. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I remember it was something about, it was literally getting to the rose oil. And my consciousness just didn't make the link in the dream yet, but the fact that it came up in the dream, like, I think now I'm remembering, I was like working in a restaurant or doing something, and the thought of like, oh, I have to get the roses. I don't even think it was oil, it was actual roses. And so I thought that was really interesting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my consciousness is starting to like pick up on the rose element. And now tonight though, I'm gonna try the rose oil for sure, which was crazy. So I'm gonna see if that works. But like, once I'm in bed and I'm in that in between, oh my gosh, it's really hard for me to get out of bed, like, because once I'm up. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get up and get that oil, I need to get the oil. And then I just back to bed. All right. Raven says it's very healing. Awesome. And you've done both. Okay, cool. I'm excited. Lunar Mischief says, I've been having house dreams, but the house is always different. I'm always trying to escape. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder what's your perspective on that? Now this reminds me too, when I was researching the house dream symbol, I was coming across people's experience with having a recurring dream or a recurring house in a dream, but it's a house that they've never lived in. And I think a lot of the times it was like a dream house, or there was some sort of connection or feeling to the dream. Usually not really scary though. Usually it was something like either it was a house they always wanted, or just something warm and cozy, or just felt comfortable like a home. So that's one of the things that I also felt was really interesting when it came to houses. And I know Carl Jung had a very powerful series of dreams concerning a house. And I don't know if it was the same house. And I don't know if it was, I don't know how long it was, if it was for a long period or for a short period of time. But I remember his comparison about even like the exterior of the home, how like the front yard is, has a certain vibe to it, in the backyard, like the front yard, everyone sees it. So it's like, oh, it's all nice, and there's a garden, and, things are kept up well. And then the back of the house kind of representing things that, are usually unseen. So it can kind of be messy or unkept and such. And I also came across the, points of like the different entrances of the house too, where we have like the main door is like the formal door, like again that exterior front of the house is like what you portray. So you can even think about like what's the energy that you are expressing, like what's at the very forefront of your psyche, that your conscious awareness. And then the further and further you get back, or you go back or go within the house, that's when you really tap into the different layers of your consciousness and aspects of yourself, right? And so, thinking about that front door as like, the formal door, it's like the welcome. Nobody really ever goes through that door. And then you have like the side door or the back door or the garage door that's more frequent, and how is the energy there. So paying attention to those aspects of the house that come up in your dream are really important too. And I think, again, for me, it's always the upstairs. It's always the stairway as well, and stepping into the house. So it's like as soon as you get into the door, because I'm remembering recent dreams in the same house, or it's my mother's house, where I'm in that threshold, so I have an easy access to leave. And I remember there was, at one point, there was like this like dark woman, witchy type figure, but she was kind of like demonic in a way. And it was a whole thing there. And like it wasn't like my grandmother or myself or anything. It was someone that I have no idea. So that's really interesting. So yeah, Raven's encouraging Lunar Mischief to explore it. Yes, I would love to hear about that. Lewis says, Kettle Buddha says, oh wow, you see super powerful. It will take a couple of times. Yeah. But the smell and the thought of the roses will do it in the dream. Yes, I think, and I love that you just mentioned roses. I think that's a really fun, sweet, and subtle, gentle dream symbol. And it also is connected to the spirit guide, my spirit guide that I'm working with right now. So that will be really helpful. Raven says, I used to try to escape in the beginning of the dreams. Oh, okay. So I can see, Raven, I'm living through you and your experiences and learning about maybe this is how my journey will be, because I feel ready, like consciously, but my unconscious is like, it's still working through those old patterns. So it hasn't really, aligned with me in the sense of, yeah, no, we can do this. We got this. Like, I think I feel pretty grounded in what might come through here. So yeah, I'm past the part now of there were dreams where I didn't even want to go home with my grandmother close because I knew she was going to come home with me. And yeah, so weird. Lunar Mischief says, I always explore, but the house is never the same. It always completely different, and I can remember each one. It's definitely a trip. LOL. Absolutely. That makes so much sense. Yay. Oh my gosh. That's really, really interesting. This was great. I'm really excited. I love this symbolism of the house. And I have always said, you have those personalities that fight or flight. I'm definitely the personality that's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not trying to deal. Like, I'm going to be straight up and honest. My moon is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is really good about, okay, wall here. Here's my structure. Here's my fortress. Like, I got my things. I'm good. I don't want to deal with that shit out there, right? It's just the sense of vulnerability, and it's just like, this is my safe space. I'm not really trying to rock the boat. It's like the energy you get with the earth signs, right? They like figure out, their safety, their security, their way of being. And so it's like to shift, when you think about moving dirt, it's like you got to add some water in there. You have to really finesse it to get the energy moving and to like really, shift things and remold things. So yeah, Raven, I know you can relate because you have a Capricorn moon too. Yeah, so it takes a minute, but we are good at making the changes, and it's the discipline, it's the discernment, which is, right on point for this time of year with Capricorn season coming through. So awesome. I think the new moon also, I will share, I believe the new moon in Capricorn is January 11th, so 111. I just wanted to share that. I'm pretty sure. That's that. So, all right. Well, I feel pretty good with what I've shared here, and I've got some things to do. And yeah, if you all end up having, your lucid dream experience, I would love to hear about it. So yes, I will be coming forth again next week, and, yes, I'm hoping to have some really exciting and healing messages and experiences to share on this. So thank you so much. Thank you, Raven. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Lunar Mischief. Yes. Thank you for your comments and everything and your experiences. And thank you everyone for watching. And thank you, just for your support. Kettle Buddha says, I'll be trying some things these days and I'll let you know. Yes, definitely let me know. This was very inspiring for sure. And I still want to look into dream yoga. So I'll be connecting with you, Lewis, on that. So, all right, everyone. Well, have a good night and have sweet dreams. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.